Hello, everyone. I want to talk about some things you can do to improve your grade. We are getting towards the end of the semester, and I know that's a time when some people start becoming aware of their grade in the class, and that maybe it's not exactly what they would expect it to be or hope it would be. So I want to talk about some things you can do at this point to help yourself out. One is make sure that you are participating in the discussion board. As long as you're doing this, that's going to help you to get a passing score. These are always due before class every day. Um, if you don't do this, then you're hurting yourself, right? Because you'll get a zero on that assignment. Do all of the homework assignments. And I know sometimes there'll be a week where something comes up and you can't get it done for some reason that week. Um, but try to get them done. There is tutoring available to help out with this. If you miss a class, if you miss a lab period, please send me an email. There might be an alternate assignment you can do for some partial credit on any days that you miss. And then make sure you're preparing for the quizzes. To do this, there are several worksheets in each module. If you can do the material on the worksheet, that should be adequate preparation for the quiz. I want to talk a little bit about the homework. So I know for some of you the homework has been a challenge, but the reason we have it is that kind of historically what we've seen is that when people do well on the homework, they tend to do well on the exam. So you can see kind of this trend here. This is from a few semesters ago before the COVID shutdown. We can see this trend where we're getting kind of higher exam scores when we have higher homework completion. Now, it's obviously there's a lot of variability here, so that does not mean that if you haven't done your homework, you're automatically going to fail the exam. However, by doing the homework, you are preparing yourself to do well on the exam. At the same time, I know at this point there's a lot of homework that has already been due, and you probably, in some cases, have not done that. So you have a bunch of zeros on your score right now. So what can we do about that situation? How can you improve your chances of succeeding in the class given what's already happened? So there are a couple of extra credit options that you can participate in. One of them is something we've been talking about all semester, which is participation in the tutoring system, and that's the official tutoring system we have at the school. So it's great if you have a study group with some friends, but this is tracking the amount of time that you spend in a tutoring session through the school. So they keep track of who you are if you are there, and for every 3 hours you spend in tutoring, you can excuse one homework assignment. So if you have a bad week and you just can't get the homework done that week, and you have had 3 hours of tutoring at any point in the semester, that zero score is just going to go away. If you've had 2 bad weeks and you have 6 hours of tutoring time anytime in the semester, both of those will go away, and etc. There's no limit to this other than the amount of tutoring times that are available. So that's one option. But at the same time, if you haven't been doing tutoring all semester, there's only so much you can do in the last few weeks of the semester. So there will be one extra option that you can use to replace a homework assignment. You can do one of these, right? There's a lot of options here. So pick whichever one most resonates with you, most feels like something that speaks to who you are. And that is, this is a project about a connection to chemistry. So what about chemistry kind of impacts another area of your life? And maybe through doing this project, it will help you to have a greater appreciation for chemistry. So I'm going to talk about a few options here. So these are the options, and we'll go through them in kind of in series here. Um, all of the, well, not all of them, most of these should be freely available either online or through the school library. And I'll talk about each one as we discuss them. Okay, so the first one is a song. Um, is there a song that you know about that has a scientific reference? And so I would like you to kind of talk about that. It can be any kind of a popular song that you know of. Um, and what I'd like you to do is, if there is a scientific reference, and these should be really kind of about chemistry, right? So don't go pick the one about the Earth going around the sun, because that is, that's astronomy, right? That's not chemistry. So these should be related to chemistry. So for your song, decide if it's what is technically correct about the song, and it's okay that it's not technically correct. People that are doing things artistically have a lot of artistic license to kind of bend the truth a little bit in how they're making their stories. So it's okay that that happens. At the same time, because you're in a chemistry class, I want you to know this is the way things really are, right? So I don't want you to hear the song and then know less about chemistry because of that. So just make sure um, you're clear on that. And if there is something that is incorrect, scientifically incorrect, you're able to point that out. And and then what kind of a message is it this song portraying about science or scientists? Um, and whether or not you think that message is accurate based on what you've learned in this class. And this is it's completely okay if you pick a song that's making fun of a scientist. I'm not going to be upset about that. It's just something to talk about in terms of, well, how is science perceived in popular culture based on where it shows up in some music. There are some options here, and I'm not going to click on the link right now. But when you go to the PowerPoint, there's a website that has some things that have been done in this regard. Or you could pick a completely different song. I've actually learned some music from this from a student that wrote a song that was named after an element that I did not even know about. The next one, there is a book, not a textbook. It's actually more of a memoir called The Periodic Table. It was written by a chemist named Primo Levi, and his experiences as a chemist and as a refugee during World War II. So there's kind of a mix of things here. Some of it's very scientific and some of it's very personal. It is a book, right? So you don't have to read the whole book. So pick one chapter from the book, and then talk about what are the aspects of chemistry that that particular chapter is addressing, and then relate those to, okay, when did we talk about this in our class? Which chapter, which module was addressing those topics? And then what is the author trying to convey by making these references to various aspects of chemistry? What is the point of that? There's a link here. So the link is actually, there's a free online version of this textbook. So I said textbook, I'm sorry, not a textbook, but this book. It's over 200 pages long. Again, you're not reading the whole book, you're reading a chapter from the book. So you can do that. We also have a copy in the library, so you could check out from the library if you like a hard back, or I shouldn't, not necessarily hard, but I think it's a soft cover book. But if you want a hard object to hold while you read, you can get that from the library. If you don't mind reading, parts of a 200-page book online, so you'd have to kind of maybe figure out which chapter you want to read, not necessarily the first chapter, but find the chapter you want to read. Then you can follow the link here. Again, the PowerPoint will be linked to this video on Canvas. Another option. This is another type of book. It's a graphic novel um, called Radioactive. It says, yeah, called Radioactive, not Radioactivity. There's a little typo there. This is about the life of Marie Curie, who was uh, a prominent scientist who did a lot of work that's important now in our understanding of chemistry. So talks a lot about her life. So you can talk about one or both of these things. So what challenges does the story tell about what she faced in her scientific career? And was she treated fairly compared to other scientists at the time? So this is about 100 years ago. And then what was the impact of her work on the field of chemistry? Um, the link here is to where you can buy this online. However, it is also available in the library, so you can check it out there if you would rather do so. I think we have like one copy of this, so in the library, so it just is a matter of whether or not someone else is doing the same project, if it will be available. The next option is a documentary called Parallel Lives. Let me see. I make sure I get this right. Parallel Universes, Parallel Lives, something to that nature. So this is about a scientist who was the person who came up with the theory of multiple universes, which you might say, what does that have to do with chemistry? There's a brief part of chapter what we covered in module 7 that alludes to these ideas, but we didn't get into the details. So the quantum mechanics is really where this shows up. There's a lot of very bizarre ideas that come out of quantum mechanics. This is one of them. So it's about this person, and then his son is actually a rock star, it turns out. So it's about the rock star learning to understand his father, who has died, and understand the work he did. So so a couple of things you can talk about if you want to do your project on this. What did you learn about quantum mechanics from this documentary, and who did you most relate to in the story? Because this is a very, I would say, very personal account. So you do get some of the feelings that people have here, and hopefully that can sort of humanize science a little bit for you if that has been something you have not seen before. This is a video is free online, so the link will go to that, so you can watch it for free online. And then the last option is another. It's actually a mini series called Chernobyl that was from HBO. So this one is the one of the all of the options which is not free necessarily. So it might be available on a variety of streaming platforms beyond just HBO, but I think that's where it initially appeared. And so for this one, if you choose to do this one, some thoughts I would like you to think about related to this. There was a tragic mistake that was made by the people in charge of things in this miniseries. So think about who made that mistake, and does it remind you of anything going on recently? Has there been any large tragic mistakes in the way we approach things, where maybe an understanding of science would have helped from making it quite as tragic? And then related to that tragic mistake, who were the people who were harmed the most by that mistake? Was it the people who made the mistake? Was it somebody else? And what could have been done to prevent that harm? Okay, so these are some things you could write about if you were to do this project. So here's the summary of the possibilities. So there's 5 altogether, and you can pick the one that most resonates with you. You only get one of these, right? You can do more than one if you want to, but you get credit for one. So if you really like multiple of these and you just want to do one for fun, that is completely fine. But only one of them will get credit. So pick one of the five. If you do it and it's done, to the level of what is expected here, then you get to replace an additional quiz score. So you get to drop one extra quiz beyond just what you were dropping from the homework. So hopefully this is sort of a last minute thing that some of you could do to help out a little bit if you have gotten behind on the homework and have not been able to attend tutoring. And even if you have, maybe you need one more. So good luck, everyone. Let me know if you have any questions. And I look forward to reading what you have to write and what you have to say about this.